Coming up on the Buckeye Guard, identifying unknown chemical hazards to aid first responders in mitigation efforts. Opioid addiction drives airmen's passion to join counter-drug task force and get drugs off the streets. And soldiers test their strengths and skills during the state's combatives tournament.
So today we're on Wright-Patterson Air Force Base here in Dayton, Ohio, and today we're conducting a collective lanes training in preparation for our TPE or 18-month evaluation.
Specifically, our role is to identify unknown chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear materials at incident sites in support of first responders. We have the capability to identify those hazards, provide an assessment to those first responders to assist with the mitigation efforts, and then advise on what additional needs are to take care of those situations.
So the scenario today is some firefighters were coming out to do some training for the day. They walked in, they saw a suspicious lab inside of the training building here. They backed out, secured the area, and then they called the 52nd Civil Support Team to come out and identify what was in there.
The first phase of us going downrange is our site characterization. Site characterization is basically what we do to figure out what's downrange. A lot of it is taking pictures. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. So we'll go down and we'll take as many pictures as we can, try and get the pieces of the puzzle gathered so that we can put that together back in our ops cell when we get back. And then our phase 2, we'll come back and we'll kind of analyze what we have, look at those puzzle pieces, we put it together, what we think might be the actual intent or what's going downrange based on the precursors that we find, and we'll basically go back in and we'll confirm.
We have to do exercises like this to get out and build relationships and build our proficiency to be able to respond to these types of incidents. So this venue here is going to give us an opportunity to exercise our team, make sure that our techniques and protocols are staying proficient.
There's a lot of teams across the entire nation, just like ours, and we need to be able to all know what each other's doing and stay on top of current trends. So it gives us another look. Every time we can get out here in the field, we get another look at what we might be seeing at some point. And if, God forbid, the real thing ever happens, we can kind of be more prepared in that sense.
I am a photographer. I specialize in families, but I do everything from weddings to newborns, maternity, pretty much clear across the spectrum because I just love doing all of it so much. As a business owner, you really have to take ownership of your programs because your success depends on it. When I think about loving your career, I think about doing a phenomenal job. You do a better job than anybody else because you love what you're doing. And when you do something that you love, you just are so much better at it.
My brother was an opiate addict for about almost 2 decades. His internal struggle that I got from his journals was immense. His journal was just a constant, I don't want to use, I hate this, I don't want to be this person. And some of his entries were about how I'm gonna get clean, I'm gonna make something of my life, I'm gonna, be a better person.
He really described the core symptom of addiction, which is the inability to control the use of the substance and the behaviors that surround the use of a substance. Those of us who don't have addiction can control the use of a substance, and we don't develop life problems secondary to it. People who do have addiction, first and foremost, when they're exposed to it, they aren't able to stop using. And they have the urge to go back again and again. It's a genuine craving, like the craving for food or the craving for water. It's almost a biological urge.
The biggest message I would have, and I always harp on this, is just to not jump to conclusions with addiction. Their mothers, their fathers, their sons, their brothers, it literally affects anyone.
For friends and family members, remember the person you knew before they became addicted, because that person is still there. They need treatment for their addiction, they need support, and they need help.
Just those everyday things that you take for granted, and I go home and just walk in the door and hear his voice and have him come down and give me a hug. That was just such a moment in time that you don't think you'd hold so closely to until it's gone. It changed my entire world. But it's just made me more passionate about this job. When I applied and I interviewed, they asked me why I wanted to work for Counter Drug, and I was honest and I told them that it was just a big passion of mine to be a part of the fight against addiction and to get drugs off the street. What brings me the most pride in this job is I do really like the mission of Counter Drug with combating, narcotics, because that's very close to my heart. Just knowing that if you're taking away even the money, you're hurting that drug trafficking organization, and that's all I want, is just to not be available to people to be able to use, because I don't want what happened to me and my family to happen to anybody else.
Ohio National Guard soldiers worked their Modern Army Combatives training at the 2018 state tournament, but it was the future of the program that was on their minds off the mats.
The Modern Army Combatives program makes things realistic, and it ties everything into do with actually being a good fighter, the confidence it gives the soldiers to close distance with the enemies, and as well as keeping a tactical aspect of it to further the actual theater operations and close quarter combats.
I think that this tournament is great for the whole state. This is my second time being to the Combatives tournament. My first time was in 2015. I kind of just threw my name out there, came in, knew what I knew, and I had a great time. I mean, if you have that physical background, it's a great opportunity just to come out here, roll around with some guys, show what you got.
The soldiers of Ohio are eager to test their skills on a larger stage.
I'd like to see the winners from this advance forward per weight class, funded by Ohio, to go to Fort Knox or a combatives tournament that is open but active duty based, because they're actually implementing a new combatives tactical portion of it, where that's graded on a tactical team level, and then you fight individual. So I'd like to see the best of the best from Ohio go compete with the best of active duty and what they have to offer.
To see more about the Ohio National Guard, go to ong.ohio.gov or follow us on Facebook and Twitter.